Well, I'm going to talk to you about this from a woman's perspective as a woman's issue, because I think we should talk about that as Catholics, right? And so let me just start off by saying that this whole idea of contraception, sterilization, and abortifacients as being necessary for a woman's health is actually demeaning to women. Undergirding this idea is the perception that women, because of our fertility, are deficient and we need fixing. It says we need pills to be made whole, and when the pills fail, we need something stronger, surgery, abortion. And we need all these things supposedly to be made free, and we know that's not true. The fact that our government is mandating contraceptive coverage be made available and free to all women further presses this false perception into the American psyche. If left unchallenged, what will be the effect upon future generations? So we've already seen the commodification of sex, courtesy of widespread birth control, leading to the commodification of the human person. The idea of the human person, as a result, is divorced from reality. Gender is no longer a biological reality. It's simply an idea in one's head. Marriage has no need for otherness, no such thing as male and female. And being male or female these days is just a matter of surgery. It's just a surgical option because it's all a thought. There's no longer anything true as objective reality. So what new devilry, I ask, will come if these false perceptions are left unchallenged? What can we as Catholic women, Catholic men, what can we do? Well, thankfully, as a part of the new evangelization, we're called to speak the truth. And I think this truth has to even be spoken in Catholic circles because it's the Catholic community itself that's being divided by these false things that are put out in the media, right? Trying to give cover to basically the enemy among us, right? And we know the devil is the enemy of the human person. And so bigger than liberal versus conservative, Obama, whatever, this is the enemy of humanity behind this. And as Catholics, we have to understand that this warfare is a spiritual one, okay? And we can't sit by and be quiet about it. We just can't. And we know, thankfully, from our faith, and thank you for mentioning that our freedom doesn't come from the Constitution. It's a part of who we are as human beings made in the image and likeness of God. And with that, we need to speak forcefully, loudly, and say what we believe. Because a lot of times, as I go into some of these really out there blogs about women's issues, I'm really shocked about how people who self-identify as Catholic just either don't know the faith or they're purposefully twisting the truth. And who twists the truth but the enemy, right? And so you can see that everywhere. You see the terms forced pregnancy being used all the time if religious institutions are given this exemption. And I'd say even greater than religious, bigger than religious institutions, we also need to have personal conscience exemptions, because while I don't work for a religious institution, if I were to start my own business, I certainly don't want to have to provide this kind of objectionable coverage, as woman-hating coverage to my employees. I think we should talk about the true freedom, right, that we see in the church as women. It's a church that allows me full membership without asking me to check my fertility at the door, right? And I even see this mindset where birth control has separated us from the importance of gender, particularly the importance of womanhood, the gift of being able to bear children. I see it even coming forth in arguments for a woman priesthood. I think, you know, and I'm going to go there because it's supposed to be a Catholic place. I find the concept, the argument that women must be priests so ridiculous, because we're already naturally ordained to take a sperm and an egg and make a human, living, breathing person. Just like the priest, through the sacrament of ordination, the priest is ordained to take bread and wine and becomes a living, breathing human person, Jesus Christ, who we do believe is truly present, body, soul, and divinity in the Eucharist. It's a person, right? And so we have a special gift from God. In our nature, we're ordained a certain way as women. And I see that so undervalued by this whole idea that we need these contraceptive things to be free, to be fully functioning persons in society, to be successful. And as someone that has had a very successful career in corporate America, managed hundreds and hundreds of people, I also worry that for women in the workplace, if this mandate is unchallenged, that somewhere in there will be an even greater hostility toward motherhood, toward pregnancy. And there will be this underlying unspoken concept that if you're a productive, successful, responsible woman, you will be motherless and childless. And those would be the unspoken requirements to gain access to successful careers. So we should be very worried about this. We should be very concerned because it is an affront against women if it goes unchallenged. And I wanted to talk about that from a woman's perspective because I think it hasn't been said. And we also should be, as Catholics, talking about why we believe what we believe, because the truth is beautiful, the truth is liberating, and the truth is inspiring. We have to have courage to go out there and say these very unpopular things and know that what we stand on is objective truth, and we have the power of God to protect us. It's not to say that it won't get uncomfortable. It's not to say that it may come at some personal cost, lost friendships, certain things even happen to you on your job, but we're called to speak the truth. We're called to speak the truth of power. We're called to speak the truth in charity and with love. And so I wanted to just bring that perspective out because I think a lot of times it's been unsaid. I think if we leave this unchallenged, I'm very much more afraid of what other ridiculousness is going to happen in the future. We didn't think, I'm sure, when people are like, oh, the pill is going to help women, we didn't think it then become, well, you know, you're not really a woman if you don't think you're one in your mind. You can be whatever you want to be. Gender is just some made-up construct in your mind. And I'm like, how much more unhinged from reality are we going to become? And at what cost to our society, to our families, to our nations, and most importantly, to our souls? Thanks.